Hi, everyone. I wanted to welcome you to the 21st SF Doc Fest. I'm Gigi Haycock, one of the programmers at the festival, and you have just watched You Are the Days to Come. And we are very fortunate to have the director, Ronya Yu, with us today. And I want to thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Great. So I was curious about the title. I thought that might be a good way to start talking about your film, where that came from.
You Are the Days to Come. It's actually from a French novel. I don't remember. I actually don't remember the name of the novel right now, but it's kind of a French classical. Classic novel, and in the end of that novel, the main character was walking through a river with a child in his hand, and when they pass the river, he asks the child who the child is, and the child told him, "I am the days to come." So I thought that was beautiful. And that indicate the future.
Yes, I felt like even though there was so much turmoil during the time of your, the film and everything, I came away with having some hope. I think you say in the very end, kind of, it felt hopeful to me that, this is all that's been happening now. But so I thought maybe that tied into the title of hope, basically.
Yeah, that's very good. That's what I'm trying to do with my projects, is to create hope and inspiration for people, for the younger generation, for all of us. So that's my intention with the film, to tell history, but also to create hope.
That's wonderful. I mean, and this is a very personal story for you because you lived there right before it all, when there was some artistic freedom kind of coming out before Tiananmen Square happened. But at the same time, while this is still happening, there's, crackdowns and, people who are trying to express themselves. But you do say you remember poetry and rock and roll and all those things that you were able to experience before, it really shut down on people's freedom of expression.
Right. The film is really about the whole 1980s, that before the Tiananmen Square massacre, and that's about that whole decade. That there was really hope, and it was full of optimism of that time, and there was a lot of creativity and rebellion. So that was the time I was interested to portray. And of course, the whole era was ended in tremendous tragedy. And the voice of the whole generation was silenced. But what I want to do is to document that spirit, that hope during that whole decade.
Yeah, the democracy wall, and the formation of the stars and everything. It was kind of incredible that you have that footage. Where did you get all of that archival footage where people are dancing and those photographs and things like that? It really illustrated what you were talking about.
Right. It's a very personal film, but it's really a historic documentary. From my perspective, I was thinking before the project, when I was planning is how to tell this history, because the Chinese history is always being rewritten by the government record. We no longer know the truth. We will never know the truth. Also, what is the truth? what is a true history? So that question was raised before we started this project, and I chose to tell the personal stories, to tell history through personal stories, because I believe that they are the true stories to tell. Everybody have their own personal stories, have their own memories, lived experience, and thus you cannot lie through them. So I believe the unofficial record is the true story. And to support this historic documentary, so we the archival footage is really a significant part of it. We spend tremendous time, energy on working with the archival throughout the 4 years of production. So the archival footage consists of different parts. There are some exclusive private collection from former journalists and former artists, and there are really seeing art museum collections, and there are also newsreel from Western news agencies from Europe and from the United States. There is also a collection of still photographies shot by Chinese photographers who were active from the time. So we were really very fortunate to have found all this footage, and I really want to thank all the people who has shared their precious material with us. It was really a rewarding, it was strangeness, but very rewarding and the emotional process. What I said in the beginning of the film, when the 1980s started with this footage from the Democratic War, it was really true. When I saw this footage, I was really stunned. It was the first time I ever seen this reputable war on the screen. So I want to thank Helmut Opleto in Austria. He was a former journalist, and he's a professor in Austria today. He shot this footage with 8mm film camera.
I'd like to talk also a little bit about the 6 artists that you chose, and you followed them from their beginning days and then where they are now. Have they seen this film? Yeah.
Most of them, yeah, I believe.
Yeah. And you chose them. Why did you choose them exactly? Was it?
Well, the film follows a chronological order. It started from the 1980s, started by the end of the Cultural Revolution, started from 1989, the Democratic War, and the 1980s ended by the Tiananmen Square democratic movement in 1989. So I chose artists that could represent each time period of the whole of this 10 years. So we started with the stars, and they were they really represented the spirit of that political shift that China started to do reforms and turned away from this communism, starting to change their political systems and doctrines, etc. And the stars were pioneers at that time, really brave artists who could, it was unthinkable for people today to think that at that time there was this artist, young people trying to make their own exhibition, and also went to a demonstration to demand their own creative freedom. So, so they were really stunning. So I started the film with these two artists, and also I chose the artists that I am personally interested in, that I'm interested in their humanity. They're not political activists for me, so I'm really interested in their humanity and their spirit and their personal stories. So I met a lot of artists and chose the ones that I connected to.
Yeah.
So like the artist Li Shuang, that her personal story really moved me.
Yep. She was the one in prison, right? And she,
Right.
yeah, and she refused to give up the names of the other stars.
Right. Right.
Yes. Yeah. That was wonderful. I thought that it's a beautiful film, and interspersed with everything with this is also those beautiful shots of people walking through fields, and you know, it just kind of had a lyrical addition to everything else that you had from the archives to, you know, interviews. So it was really nice to have a kind of whole collage of that in your film. So this has been great. Is it being shown again somewhere, or how can people see this?
The film, well, the film has been screened, has traveled to 4 continents, being screened and aired in countries around the world.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being able to have it at the SF Doc Fest. I love the film, and it was so nice meeting you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate that you yeah, you have chosen this film to screen in San Francisco, because I also will have a live screening as well. So
yes,
it's really great for me to, since I live in the Bay Area, so this would be great for me to meet some audience, since this whole pandemic period is make it very difficult to meet your audience. It sometimes felt like I was making this film for myself.
yeah. Now you get to see live people watching it too, and all the people that can watch it virtually too. It's nice to have a hybrid, I think, in this case. So we'll get back there at some point. So thank you again so much for your time, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Nice
bye.
meeting you. Okay, thank you.
Nice meeting you. Bye.